Alright, this video is to show you how to do the Automoblox figure, the male figure. So we're going to start with that square base, 0.575 on each side. And what I want you to notice is that when I create this square, it's going to be beneficial for me to have that centered at the origin. So to do that, I'm going to put my mouse up into the left here. I'm going to hit tab, and notice that my x is in the negative right now, so I'm going to go negative 0.575 and divide it by 2 so that I get halfway across. Then I'm going to go, since I'm in the positive y direction, I got 0.575 divided by 2, just positive. So I hit enter, and the reason I want to do that is now when I actually specify, that was the starting point of my square. Now what I can do is to give the size of my rectangle, I can type in 0.575 on the x direction, hit tab, 0.575 in the y direction, hit enter, and I now have a centered square. If you look at the directions again, it says 0.3 is the extrusion depth on that. That comes from right here. Moving forward, the very base ellipse for the person, we've got these dimensions 236 by 155. So to create an ellipse on something that is dimensioned, what you first do is draw a line to the right and a line straight up. You got 0.236 and 155. We'll go ahead and do that. So we've got our sketch on the top. Line command. Now this is one reason it's handy to have centered our square, is 0.236 to the right. Line command vertically. Oops. There we go. 0.155. And if you take a look, we have our ellipse command under the circle. And the way the ellipse command, if you haven't used it yet, is you start in the center, and it's just asking for the axis or the center line of your rectangle or ellipse. So I'm going to go from the center out to my 236, and then notice I can come up here, and again, because I put that line at 155, I can click there, right, and snap to it. So from there, what I'm going to do is finish that sketch. Take it back. I'm going to actually go back into the sketch really quickly. I'm going to go ahead and delete these two lines. And the reason I'm deleting the lines is that when I go to extrude this, I don't want anything but one nice smooth ellipse. So with that, I think I'm going to go 0.25. See if that looks about right. That might actually be about too much, but I don't think they specified the extrusion depth. No, they don't. They just tell you to do it. Oh, I'm sorry. The ellipse is 0.115. There we go. So to edit that, I'm going to double click the extrusion. By double clicking, I can go back in here and specify 0.115. Now, the next thing we got to do is create a larger ellipse, and it's set right on top of this ellipse. So I'm going to project the geometry, click on my ellipse, and now you can see that I've got the old ellipse. With the offset command, they say you use the offset command. Using the offset command, it just gives you the dimension 0.05 offset or change in thickness here. So the really nice thing about offset command is you click on the offset, you specify what you're starting with, and then you can tell it how big of an offset you want to make it, and it's 0.05. So with 0.05, I've got my new extrusion height. And with this one, I think they're going to give us some information. 0.84 is the distance that we extrude it. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to extrude, finish our sketch. We will extrude, and to extrude it, we have to click both the inner and outer. The dimension they gave us was 0.84. And here's the trick here with getting that to taper. Under the More tab, we have a taper. It's always set to 0 default. I'm going to make that 10. So go ahead and make that angle 10, and you'll see that we've got ourselves a pretty nice looking Automoblox person started. So the intersect extrude looks a little something like this. We're going to go ahead and notice that the long side, so let's go to the front and rotate that around. The sketch that we're going to do next has to be on this side, the side where the ellipse passes outside of the edge. So we're going to click on that edge there, and we are going to go to this little icon here. It's called Slice Graphics. What the Slice Graphics does, real quickly, you can see, is it removes everything in the material world in between you and the graphics. So all that material that was in front of me, between me and my sketch plane, has disappeared. So I'm going to then project geometry of this rectangular base, and they just say to go ahead and use, oh, there's a project geometry. They give us some dimensions here of 0.8 to the left. So what I'm going to do is create this arc right here. They don't give us the distance down from the top for this horizontal line, so I'm just going to arbitrarily create that. I'm just going to come down to about right there, come straight across, and I can always trim that back. What I do need to do is go line command, and actually no, I'm not going to do line command. I am just going to create an arc that, let's go, actually, let's try and center this. There we go. Line command from the center. I'm going to just draw this as kind of like a reference point there. So let's dimension from the end point to this line here be 0.8, and then this line here we'll double that, 1.6. From there we're going to create our arc, and our arc is going to go from this endpoint to this endpoint, and we're going to get it just really close to the top. But again, you're going to want to try and get that as close to that top line as you can. I may try and see if I can't project the geometry. It's not going to let me, which is okay. What I'll do is just use that. That should work for us. We'll find out here in a minute. The next thing we got to do is connect the endpoint down to the bottom, and this endpoint down to the bottom. Please do not forget this last step. You got to click and draw a line at the bottom of this thing. So we now have, well, I'll hit OK here, connect our line there. So when I finish my sketch, what you see is this large arcing feature. The extrude command we're going to do is not just adding or subtracting material. We're actually going to go ahead and use this one here. It's called the intersect. With intersect, we can select this entire area. We're going to go distance to all, and then we're also going to make this a symmetric. So to recap, we've got the third one down, the intersect, the third one over, which is symmetric, and then we're changing the distance to specify through all. With that, let me cancel and do one thing. I'm sorry. When we extrude and I select this area, I did forget to select the rectangular area. You want to make sure this entire thing is selected. So you'll probably have to select the arc part and then the rectangular base part. So again, intersect, mid-plane, distance to all, and hit OK. So here's what you end up with, is this really cool looking shoulder shape. If I look at it from this side, you can see that it's pretty well rounded from every direction. And that's basically it. I'll let you try and do the head at the top yourself through the instructions, but for now I would at least save that, and that is the Automoblox male figure.